This is levitation with the diamagnetic property of bismuth, and it's really an amazing technology, isn't it? We're going to talk about bismuth, the element. If you take a piece of metal called bismuth and put it on your stove in a pan, turn on the heat, and it heats up to about 550 degrees, it melts. It'll melt on just a regular burner on your stove. The interesting thing is, though, when bismuth goes back into the crystal or the metallic form and starts cooling down, it reacts with oxygen in the air and forms a very, very, very thin layer of bismuth oxide. Very, very thin. It's so thin that it does weird things with light. When light reflects off that little thin coating, it changes the color of the light. And so when you melt bismuth and you let it cool down, it's just silver, shiny like any other metal. But as it starts cooling down in the presence of oxygen, it changes color. And the color that it changes to depends on what temperature it is when you expose it to the oxygen. Remember, the reason we started talking about bismuth is because it's diamagnetic. And that means if a magnet gets close to it, it pushes the magnet away. And because of that, it has an amazing property of being able to do levitation. If I have a big piece of bismuth here, and I take a very strong magnet and set on top of it, it will actually push the magnet up so it will float in midair. No electricity, no batteries, it'll just float. And for 100 years from now, it'll still be floating. And so what some very clever people have done is they put another magnet up on top to help lift the weight of gravity so that it can float better. But because of the diamagnetic property of bismuth, it's stabilized. If you try to put a magnet on top of another magnet and just have, I'm going to see if I can get it just right where it floats. You never can. There's a force holding it up, but unless you have something like this stick here to keep it from flying off, it will always go off the side. But with bismuth, it's different. This is a bismuth crystal on top and a bismuth crystal on bottom, and in between, we have the opportunity to be able to levitate a magnet using this diamagnetic property of bismuth. This is the bottom piece, and we put it there like so. Okay, and here's the top piece. Can you see these beautiful crystals and the magnet on top?
Amazing.
Okay, so we're going to put it on top here. So I've got the little magnet here, and I'm going to crank this up just a hair. Now, look in here, and you can see the little teeny square. Now, as I crank this top magnet up and down, it makes the little magnet inside go up and down. Let's watch that. Okay, up, you see that? Down. Isn't that pretty cool?
That's amazing.
And this is levitation with the diamagnetic property of bismuth, and it's really an amazing technology, isn't it?